copy. They're for sale over there. In case you haven't got a copy of Sing This One Back to Me, it's also available for sale over there. And Frank Rubino's book, beautiful cover here. Frank's lunch service is also available for sale. So please, please check out the books. They're really fantastic. Announcements. Next week at the Poetry Project, we have two incredible readings, an ESB reading with Imogen Christian and Basal Tsu, who is our ESB fellow. And on Wednesday, we are hosting Laura Henriksen, who is our former program director, whom we love dearly, and Brandon Brown, who will be traveling from California for this reading. Okay, I think that's it. I'm also incredibly honored tonight to have two very special guest introducers. One of them is Anne Rohrer, and she's here. Thank you so much, Anne, for being here. I know also Anne is played such a beautiful role in the history. Also, I've looked up your readings at the Poetry Project. Okay, I'm just saying that you're great. You're just great. And that, yeah, we're very happy to have you here tonight. And Marcos de la Fuente will also be joining us later to introduce Bob. Maybe. Hopefully. Inshallah, as we say. Okay, please welcome Anne Rohrer to the stage.
Is it on? Yes, it is on. All right, can everybody hear me? Yes. Welcome. I'm welcoming you again. My brain just emptied out, so I don't know what is happening exactly, but I'm going to wing it. And I just want to say that you're in for a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful evening. I think it's a beautiful double bill. I'm very familiar with both of these handsome gentlemen, and I can promise you that you're going to have a wonderful time with this wonderful writers. And I'm just not sure whether it's 1979 and Frank Rubino is my prize student in my my English class at the School of Visual Arts, or whether it's now, because just a couple of days ago, I heard from Frank, who asked me if I would introduce him at this event. And of course, I was delighted. I mean, we see each other over the years from time to time at events and stuff like that. But we haven't been in the same room until yesterday. What?
You haven't had ham sandwiches together.
Say what? The ham sandwich? Something like that. I don't remember the beginning of that sentence, but anyway. When I did finally get together in person with Frank yesterday, this is Wednesday, yesterday, I invited him to lunch, and he handed me his relatively new book. I think it came out in September. Beautiful, beautiful book. And ever since then, I have been swimming around in Frank's verse. I haven't been able to put it down. I keep reading it and reading it and reading it. I had not really ever seen these poems, and I've just been, as I said, I have no other word for it but swimming. And the minute I said that I was swimming around, I immediately remembered that Bob Holman had a beautiful song, and I'm going to just sing a little bit of it for you, that I'm swimming around, I hope I don't drown, swimming in the love lake with you. I have never sung before in public, but It's such a beautiful song, and it's from the olden days. I mean, Bob and I go way, way back in various ways, but it's such a lovely song. But for some reason, I found myself swimming in Frank's verse. It just really, I didn't drown, and I'm still swimming and very happy and very excited. I can't wait to hear him read. I've only been reading them myself, and I can't wait to hear him in his voice. So I think that maybe is all I need to say tonight. I'd like you to welcome the one and only Frank Rubino from Montclair, New Jersey.
Okay, how's this? Good. Let me just look at what time it is just to make sure. Okay, great. Wow, this is great to see everybody, and thanks for coming. Yeah, this book was a long time coming. It's my first published book of poetry. You know, there's a lot of history. Eileen has said that I did a George Oppen thing, but it's not a George Oppen thing. It's much less elevated than that. But anyway, so this is a book called Frank's Lunch Service, as you've heard. It's over there on the table, and it has a lot of poems about my family, and a lot of poems about work, especially. I think work is really the thing that drives it. Frank's Lunch Service was the luncheonette that my father inherited from his father, and that I worked at every summer in Newark, New Jersey. And it was a rough place. It was, well, anyway, I'll read a little bit about it. But before I get into the Frank's Lunch stuff, I'm going to read this poem, which I like to start with. It's called, and it's kind of an invocation, I guess. It's called Use the Microphone to Create Intimacy. I'm walking in town, as I do, to be intimate with my memories after working all day and bending my thoughts. My heart rate's gone up with the hill I climbed, and there is maybe nothing I question more than the existence of myself, and that this person, myself, is worthy of my own testimony. I have to think about being closer to death than birth. I look at the moon and a single star aligned to a vector parallel to a church steeple. It's just a fact. Will the moon be closer to the star when I die? Will the churches fall? Or will nothing change? Like, what now, Lord? I'm supposed to fit into your master plan? Like the master plan of working as a kid at Frank's Lunch? You get into a position because of history. You look at the crimes, the power structure. Work is alienating, and you need a walk. My friends were laughing at a small party, and I was doing a loud, rude impression in an alcoholic voice, and me and Rufus. Well, me and Rufus stopped being friends. Pretty sure his former owner was an abusive drunk and beat him. And though in the days I'd known him, I'd put I'd pat his, I can't see for so much, I'd pet his chest and hold his horny old paw. My boisterous manner that one night when we'd all drunk whiskey scared Rufus and identified me in his mind as cruel. He walked alone into the tall meadow grass at the stream crossing above the gully where the game camera saw a bear, and he fell over and died. And we never got the chance to be close again. You who are listening or reading, I wanted to use the microphone to make you happy. But Rufus came into my thoughts as I walked in town, intimate with my memories. Thank you. Frank's lunch service. We opened at dawn and served lunch all day at the Art Metal Steelworks shift changes and breaks. My father gave me prep jobs, spooned 2 sugars into cups for the regular coffees, lightened with Clinton's milk from yellow and blue wax cartons with round pleated paper lids. Dad and Pop-Pop smoked Pall Malls before the rush. We sliced 100 Pector's rolls, sawing our knife blades towards our hands, and spread them with margarine from the human head-sized tub in the walk-in refrigerator. It was a vault, had a wooden floor I mopped from a steaming bucket. Once the latch stuck, the heavy door swung closed behind me and pushed on a cold air front the odor of mayonnaise, mopping bleach, and spilled milk. Under a dim light bulb, I could see the margarine tubs, sleeves of bologna like arms without hands, and 144 eggs stacked in triple-sized flats. Everyone in the shop was too busy with the hungry workmen to find me, as if I were still in my bed at home, as if I were one of the 144 eggs, as if my father hadn't shaken me out of my dreams and I was, that summer day, sitting and dreaming and thinking at our picnic table with the illustrated library books from the column-fronted building behind the town hall where Mom parked, about Theseus unrolling yarn in the cold labyrinth, smelling the blood of the victims, hearing them whimper and moan, and smelling the odor of the Minotaur, sweat, mayonnaise, piss. No one in Greece had ever thought to use yarn to help them escape, to be with Mom, learning the great things, as if I could turn the old pages, heavy as that walk-in door, with other people's touch, suffused with the grease from their fingers, soaked with their tears and their coffees. That's Frank's lunch. Thank you. Okay. Some of this has to do, a lot of this book has to do with, like, I went to art school where I met Anne, and I was a painter and a sculptor and a performance artist, and that's what I learned, that's what I directed myself toward. And so a lot of this book has to do with the origins of that, even further back than the School of Visual Arts. So this one is called Nutley, which is the name of the town where I grew up. I was the youngest, addressing an easel in the private atelier run by one V.N. Ficus, where I made my first drawing with red chalk from a nude model. The Nutley Art Center, across the street from where Pop-Up played Santa in the Knights of Columbus Hall, overlooks a no-neck Christopher Columbus head mounted on a pedestal like a Pez dispenser behind protester barricades. Demonstrators fought there with Columbus Day traditionalists who made curses and threats. V.N. Ficus has died. In her studio, I had ever in mind those nudes the masters painted, like naked Maha. By the time I took my lessons, I had drawn 5,000 pictures with great zeal, propelled by my own ability to bring objects and people to life. Greatness in art tells a story that imprints itself on one's contemporaries. Our model's body, impossible to draw, was as warm and real as that incompetent bust, like a lump of concrete bread dough, was false, ugly, and dead. So these, you guys might recognize, because there are some quotes, some language in this poem, which sort of is adapted from Peter Schedel, whose essays I really love. And he wrote the stuff like, you know, with great zeal, propelled by my own ability to bring objects and people to life. I think that was about, he was writing that about himself. And he also wrote this really great wisdom about greatness in art, telling a story that imprints itself on one's contemporaries. I mean, he was all about that sort of unearthing that kind of contextual place for art. And I was very struck by that language, and it related a lot to the way I was feeling as a young kid becoming an artist. All right, I got another one for you. And this kind of, this one, which is coming up, is from a kind of another direction that the book is going in also, which is, it's working with some family dynamics of mine. My brother is an ex-serviceman who, ex-Air Force guy, in fact, who lives on the West Coast and is a person who has a lot of firearms and votes conservatively and belongs to organizations that promote these values and everything. And so when I see him, it's always a bit of a shock, kind of a, wow, where did this come from? But anyway, this is a little bit of a story about what happens in that culture. Bow hunters. Deer appeared on the neighbor's property. My nephews strung their bows. One had a crossbow. The others looked like a strut off a bridge, modern with pulleys. They lined up all their arrows on the hood of their truck and set their bow stands steady on the grass, and marshaled abilities learned in the Army to make a tactical formation. They waited on the deer, 2 does grown and 2 younger. They talked about the deer, drinking, deciding which would be the best one to take. They consulted their Google research page on the proper place to put an arrow in a deer, behind the shoulder, where the liver, the heart, and the lungs all clustered and pulsed its blood. If a deer should jump the fence, it would be in the legal target zone my nephews had established on my brother's property. The boys' wives came out from my brother's house and talked with them quietly, with their eyes avidly on the deer, and smiled at the prospect of an easy kill. The deer ignored them and walked around cropping grass on their side, drifting closer, 20, 15, 10 yards away. The wives went back in the house to let it happen. My brother came out then. He walked gravely to the truck and stood among the arrows. Your mother says you can't kill a deer here today. She says there are kids and people coming over and you can't shoot and clean an animal. My nephews protested to their father, who had taught them to shoot when they were children, and he looked down on the grass. He said, "Look, I'm telling you, if you shoot a deer, you'll have hell to pay. You'll upset your mother. You want to make your mother angry? Go shoot the deer." They both looked chastened. "I sure don't want to make Mom mad," said the younger. So they stood down and left off stalking the deer, who moved anyway to the far side of the neighbor's clearing and into the woods and were lost. The boys shot their arrows at a foam target cube instead. When he released it and his arrow thwacked, the elder brother said, "To the fletch it sinks." Thanks. Thank you. So the way this book is organized, these kind of themes that I was just talking about, they're kind of braided all around in the book. So I'm going to kind of just read them that way. Days of rogation. Private days of bad thoughts, mundane thoughts, hopeses and wishes and fishes. And no one loves my earwax, my funny toe, loves me to the fingernail. I come from people with zucchini heads and meatball bodies, some of them, but some bent over with a lifetime of work, gnarled beautifully like mountain cedars or a petrified old root, marbled like ribeye. Miss Jelensky. When in my prehistoric times diorama, my clay dinosaur's perfect necks wilted and I cried, Miss Jelensky let me play under her desk. She let me have a sheltered feeling like in a cave and gave me her nearness while she sat in her chair doing her paperwork. Miss Jelensky's feet in her hose were silly putty colored, and she rested them on top of her shoes, stretching the tendons in her instep, dreaming, I think now, of Tom Jones, over whom her cheeks had reddened at circle time when one of the kids bragged her mother had seen him in Atlantic City. Where's my water? Oh. All right. A black leather jacket with suffering in its thick hide, irritation in its seams, self-aggrandizement in the 13 studs. There's starvation, that little white mouse from the company's vivarium has chewed at the sleeve ends. The little white mouse of starvation has crawled up the leather sleeve and lives in my armpit. My friend Jacobson, the artist, gave me the jacket at a certain high poverty point in our lives. We ate a frugal Chinatown fish at his apartment, cooked on a garbage-picked baking sheet, and I did see a cooked cockroach on the fish after we ate, but I didn't say anything. I have a present, said Jacobson. I think this is you. And he brought out the leather. Boy, was it stiff with age. 20 years old, maybe. and hands studded, 13 studs on the cuff. And under my Who t-shirt, tucked up in my armpit, that little white mouse squeezed tight. What is my business, he says, except to enter the infinite? What is my business except to translate the animals, hang upside down, make straight the way for the white mouse who crawls through my guts, my esophagus, sits in my mouth for a time, settles in my mouth my whole life, feels the vibrations of my words, feels the ripple of my tongue. What is my business except to open my mouth and straighten his way? Thank you. This is, I'm going to put this down. Fussing too much with that. No, not that one. Okay, the Russians. It was walk or freeze one night on Hudson Street. You know how New York can get desolate and frigid in some neighborhoods. Nothing's open, and it's just river wind rushing back and forth. The next time you can sit down warm is long, long blocks away. My back was so bad, I lowered myself on my cane and sank onto the sidewalk ice. I was okay after a while, but my friend Gigi had been immobilized in her bed for long weeks. Each of her convalescences was scarier, and each new scan showed more black dots, cancer spreading at a quicker pace. We Skyped so she could show me her wigs and talk about our problems with pain in the funny philosophical way she liked to talk. I flew to London where she was in a hospice apartment Paul arranged. He cooked for her and left us alone to say goodbye. "Read me the Russians," she said. Her hair was shaved close, growing in from chemo, and she liked me to read and scratch her scalp. "I can't control it," she said when her diarrhea gurgled in a tube. "It doesn't matter," I said, and she accepted that. She wanted to talk about knowing she was dying. I heard from Paul that she ranted and threw plates in the very last days, seized by the fear of being forgotten. She confessed that fear to me, too, as I would pause reading out loud, making sure that she really wanted to hear all this about Gusev, the poor Chekhov character who slid dead off a plank and sank into the sea. Thank you. My daughter saves for college. In Warsaw, we tore up McDonald's cheeseburgers and set the bits on the table for her to grab. She was too little to hold the bun and everything, waiting in Warsaw for her adoption visa. In the hotel crib, in pajamas, she'd scream and bite her hands, furious like at the orphanage, or furious missing the orphanage, and exhausted, drop her head on the crib rail like a driver falling asleep at the wheel. She'd snap awake the next second, screaming again, still on her feet. I fixed the zipper on her coat with needle-nose pliers. It's pissing rain, cold and sunless December. At work today, she has to stack fabric on a cart and push it 3 blocks from 40th to 37th, and all day go back and forth to empty her company's goods out of a bankrupt factory. Her pictures from inside show peeled paint, COVID masks, a Chinese calendar, and a crooked first aid kit. She has to move her fabric rolls one cart at a time. Her iPhone logs 28,000 steps. You curse her on 8th Avenue, pushing her metal platform with wheels on the bottom, muscling her load, blocking your way. That is true. She really did log 28,000 steps. I've never seen that. The marsh. I heard a baby's cry come from the marsh, where the power transfer towers stand. I heard a woman's voice whisper, please, from the Goya Spanish Foods billboard over Jersey City Heights. I saw its blue and white design through windows at the Secaucus train station. I heard the self-assured voices of my team report on business. I saw one elephant nod to the others. At his signal, they all lowered their heads and slipped into a harness to pull a log. I put my conference call on mute. I listened to the marshes' baby cry. I heard the Goya billboard whisper, please, in my mother's dark blue voice. Thank you. This poem is, well, anyway, I'm just going to read it. You'll see what it is. She came outside to write an article about lung cancer. It's cool for August. Shadow reddens the pergola. A murder hornet works a crack. A large black animal buzzes through too fast. A pet chipmunk feeds from a pile of blueberries and grapes on a stone step. He spins the berries across his teeth, picks up the grape like a kid hefts a bowling ball, snags it in his jaws and jumps across the gravel. To eat in peace, said Barbara. Wasps begin a nest on the pergola beam, a mud-colored knob with a tiny funneled hole. Wasp nests balloon and they hang in trees like gut sacks. Barbara writes in front of a garden no one's supposed to see from behind, like when a hospital gown flaps open. I see the stems' bent spines and the undersides of their leaves like the backs of their arms reaching away from me toward the sun, who is Barbara. People wonder, Barbara, 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 who is Barbara? If I said Barbara is a black animal flying through, Barbara is the flower's backside, Barbara is a wasp, Barbara is an Irish Catholic woman whose intellect, political conscience, and sexuality fused in several pioneering works of feminism. If I said her authoring mind darts like a chipmunk, people would still wonder, Barbara, Barbara, Barbara. All right. Big shoots. Timmy's baby mother overheard me in my drinking and bullshitting around the campfire and got in my face in her leopard-spotted jacket to attack my politics. She was so exercised, I had to ask her to withdraw some paces and get rational. And she finally calmed down, and we sat talking in the fishing chairs. It had been my first time shooting a handgun that day, and Timmy had called me Big Shoots. She revealed that she and Timmy were separated, though they raised their boy together in his house near the base where he was stationed, and he was taking care of her other kids, too, from her previous relationships. This had been their arrangement for a couple of years. I had been thinking all that time they were a nuclear family, and I looked through the campfire at Tim, where he sat in hearing range. The whole time she'd harangued me. He'd not moved and looked inward in a wry, long-suffering way, just as he sat now and endured her divulging all his business, that he slept alone on the sofa since Afghanistan and was drunk and so forth. He didn't say anything to stop her. He had told me earlier about his low point, and she was not it. Thank you. Thanks. That's great. Okay, let's see. I think I'm ready for this one. Puis. Oh, Billy. Don't be stuck to the wheel of the seasons in the bullseye. Be instead like the river woman who left her ghetto to be a raft guide and who takes our dad rushing through water in the hereafter. Wear not the t-shirt, Billy, with the funny kids drawing called Anatomy of a Puis, a giant bullet diagram, its parts labeled in first grader writing, freedom powder, freedom pill. We have eaten hot dogs as brothers. We have hammered with the points of our spelunkers through the eons layered in silica shale, imprinted with trilobites. We have dug for fossils with thermoses of Ovaltine, and we have never unearthed any puis, Billy. Oh, Billy, have not a pinkened, chalcedonic heart beneath the t-shirt. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about. Have instead a heart as red and wet as the bullseye. Have instead a heart as open and soft as the adopted mother our dad found when he crossed over in death, who, when she worked for him at the counter in his luncheonette, snapped her Wrigley's in her teeth and would hear no complaints. But now, finally, he's dead. She takes him on the river and hears it all. My fluid in my lungs, he says, and the tube they stuck in my ribs, he says, etc., etc. She hears it all, puis, puis, and doesn't interrupt, and salves down his surgery scars. Washington, D.C. is burning again. Notre Dame, containing his epic Catholic world history, is burning, and his beloved Newark was on fire in 1967. It's a lot for our dad, Billy. Ah, Billy, puis is the bullet sound. In the garden downriver where our dad went, the wrens, puis, puis, and the cardinals, puis, puis. He sees them lay their wings to rest in his burning freedom tree. Okay. How are we doing? Okay, good. I think I can end with this one. It's a longish one. It's called Changing a Battery. 1. My brother-in-law Laszlo, who was the family engineer and Hungarian, rewired our furnace ignition during Hurricane Sandy. Working with laconic deliberation, connecting the leads with his needle-nose pliers and voltage gauge according to the rehearsed steps in his mind, he reconfigured our ignition switch to draw power not from our dead house feed, whose Riverside PSE&G substation transformer the Passaic had flooded, but from a green extension cord he passed through the basement window. I daisy-chained it to my other cords from Christmas to reach across the street. The guy who lived there, Dr. Paul Wickerburn, suffered from a degenerative nerve disease that was killing him over a 10-year period. But he was out of his wheelchair and walked around back through the snow to show me where to plug into his generator to ignite my furnace and warm my house. A few days later, more snow fell, and the township plowed the street, ripping out Laszlo's extension cord. And inside our house, it was cold again. We felt like squatters, running the dark hallways in our headlamps and parkas, and saw our breath indoors, and felt the itch of our armpits in our dirty clothes. Okay, there's more. 2. I figured my son's no start was connected to the alternator they had replaced without analyzing the root cause. When we popped open his hood, his battery looked shot, with sea green corrosive salt crusting the posts. In my derelict Mazda was a new battery, and we could swap it into my son's car, and we would start his car without bothering his Uncle Laszlo for once. We had to knock all the corrosion off with a wrench and hope the nuts weren't locked in with rust, and hoist it out of the compartment to make room for the replacement. And it was then that my son's great strength, his wide shoulders and broad chest, filled me with gratitude for his youth. And I stopped faulting him for all the damages he had done to our various cars, among which had been the disastrous front lawn off-roading that left my Mazda with no transmission. With his vigor, he extracted his dead battery, a 50-pounder shoed in with a hidden bracket, and thudded it onto the curb grass in front of Dr. Paul Wickerburn's house, where we happened to be working, as it had been a convenient place to roll his disabled vehicle in neutral, him pushing, me steering. When Paul's disease finally did kill him, his wife, Molly, told me that Paul had loved to watch our family's antics on bad days through the windows from his wheelchair. That's it. Thank you, thanks. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're good?
Thank you so much, Frank. That was wonderful. Yeah, our next introducer is here. Marcos de la Fuente will now introduce Bob Holman. So please welcome Marcos to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's true. I am Marcos de la Fuente. Well, I came from Spain, from Galicia, long time ago. Well, maybe not a long time. And, well, I wrote this for Bob. Someone who suffers, someone who weeps, a hunter of beauty, unafraid of being undone. Watch, yearning the gaze, ahead the boys, ahead the gaze, the boys, the boys, the boys, the boys, the boys. Bob Holman, who art in the heavens. Take me with you, take us with you. There, where the poem is born, where the body is born, invented by us, sacrificed in every forward motion, in every scene. On the lips, the poem dies. But you, Bob Holman, you give it back his breath. The louder of the math, the chosen dancing, warping the space-time of this sheer hallucination. the incandescent presence, the core. Look, as far as the Galician mountains and seas, as far as the giant's cave, as far as the legend and stories from the far side of the ocean, Bob Holman arrived. And here we are. Be Bob, be beat, be poem. Be Bob, be beat, be poem. Be Bob, be beat, be poem. Be Bob. I want to be like you, Bob Holman. Writing in charcoal across the desolate steppes of America. You, the young Kenneth Koch. You, the Kenneth Rexroth of the shore. Binding poets, binding lines, spinning and spinning, Bob Holman, dragging us into your vortex of words. Words that are the bricks for the house. Your house, the poem. Our house, the poem. Rhyme, reading, tempo, tone, rhyme, reading, tempo, tone, muscle, gravity, green. We are here and we are not living, not without tearing down the walls, not without raising the flags of the tongues that live inside us. We hear you, Bob Holman. Tell us, you who went into the desert to contemplate the blues, you who choose to be born despite everything. You who sat at the table of gods and ate. You who built the temple where we undress every night. Tell us, where are poems born? How does a poet live? How does a poet live? How are you from a Caribbean island if you were born in Tennessee, New York and roots, Kentucky? Poet who lives in the voice. Bob Holman, who are in the heavens, come down to earth, here, to the New York of Mandanis and broken sidewalks, of permanent banners, vertical coffins, and spoiled pets. Come down and show us how to dig the trenches in this new war that is coming. Thank you.
Back into the past. Did you really think the future was going to last? It's in there with a bang, so let's have a blast. Tonight, we're dining cannibal. It makes such a nice contrast. Oh, chauffeured ambulances are racing to the prom. Santa, please bring me a neutron bomb. Oh, what a fitting ending for a planet. The Earth is a grave. Excuse me. I got to get back to my cave. We are the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we were asking for. Come on, follow the dinosaur! Blast open the gates to kingdom come. Whoops, what happened to everyone? I planted a seed, it grew into a gun. Dum da dum 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 dum. Life is a riot, living in a cartoon. Ice age in a dumpster, that's our living room. Set fire to your roof, get a better view. Global warming, it's a warning. Toodaloo. We are the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we were asking for. Come on, follow the dinosaur. Ho, ho, Homo sapien. You ain't so smart. Kamikaze friend. Which way is the heart? The whole world's dialing 911. The don't walk sign just changed to you better run. What we've been waiting for has long since come. Dum da dum 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 dum. Oh, cross the scorching sands with my big fat feet. You know it's hard becoming diesel fuel with nothing to eat. Oh, you better catch us quick. We're out of here. We are pre-winged birds. We tend to disappear. Hurry! Disappear! Back into the past! Did you really think the future was gonna last? It's ended with a bang! So let's have a blast! Tonight we're dining cannibal. Makes such a nice contrast. Chauffeured ambulances racing to the prom. Santa, please bring me a neutron bomb. What a fitting ending for a planet. The Earth is a grave. Oh, excuse me. I gotta get back to my cave. We are the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we were asking for. Come on, follow the dinosaur. Come on, follow the dinosaur. We don't live here anymore. We got what we were asking for. Follow the dinosaur! Thank you guys for coming. Frank, that was a beautiful reading. You're such a wonderful poet, man. We've been missing you, and it's good to have you here. And I think it's more Carl Ricosi than George Oppen, actually. We'll talk to Eileen about that one. But it is the launch of a new book. Edwin's here. Oh, great. Hello. Which is called We Interrupt This Program. And what is so groovy about it, besides that Jordan Davis actually got it to me today at 12:30, which, you know, I mean, it's a book that's actually at the book launch. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But look, it's got QR codes throughout. Are you ready, guys? That's it. I mean, you can then QR it and watch the videos of these poems. These are all poems that are streaming out there. Have you ever heard of anything like that? I tell you, never heard of anything like that. And Papa Suso is here. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have so much. Oh, well, so the first thing I'm supposed to do is what am I? That I've done it. The first thing. Well, there you saw it. You see, Professor Holman, is that you begin with the oral version, and then you get to see the video version. So then you get to compare, contrast, and get your MFA, and that Ponzi scheme can last forever. Okay. Now, okay. So Aliens in the White House. Was done most recently at the No Kings March, where I had my megaphone, And I discovered that, you know how you always meet people at the marches, right? You always run into people. But if you stand still with a megaphone and keep doing Aliens in the White House, you'll meet 3 or 4 times as many people as you would if you were in the flow walking along. It's an amazing thing. So I did get a lot of people. And right now, Mark Rebo, who did the music for this thing, is putting this poem to music. He performed it in Minneapolis, so it's been through it. Go ahead, pronounce yourself king. Cover your fat ass with bling. Cringe, you platypus. Cringe. No, wait a second. This is an early version. You platypus, Nick. Cringe as we sing. We got aliens in the White House. We got aliens in the White House. We're a nation of immigrantes, outer space alien presidantes, survives by drinking blood innocente. Oh, aliens in the White House. Pilgrim immigrants, rockin' Plymouth Rock, double down citizens, zap the double talk. His signature looks like it's a heart attack. He's on amphetamine, ketamine, Big Mac crack. Their flying saucers turn into drones. They spit skibbity into their phones. A golden toilet is their throne. Their eau de cologne, okay, is testosterone. Come on, aliens in the White House. Aliens. His go-to hairdo's gone delulu. Guilty with the Me Too. Dancing like an emu. Lockjaw, coleslaw, verbal nonsense, kung fu. Gas prices soar while you're licking up the mildew. Go ahead, put your name on a dollar bill. Won't mean a penny to the thousands that you kill. Market your toupee at the closest landfill. Here's your peace prize, a suicide pill. Got aliens in the White House. This is the chorus. Aliens in the White House. And that was the chorus. Thank you very much. Okay. And now, with apologies and thankfulness to Ted Berrigan, he says, Bob, you as a poet have a choice. Either you can be Bozo the Clown or the President of the United States. So here for you, Ted, is the poet. Yes, I'm a poet, born in the sea, never listened to no one. I always had a way with words splintering out of my mouth like shrapnel from grenades. I had a lover once, held my tongue in her mouth just to get me to quiet down. I loved her then, I love her now. That's part of the job description, actually, to be in love, to be fallen in love all the time. And I tell you, I've been in love with you then, and I love you now. I'm so busy falling in love since we met, and I ain't done yet. Today, I held her tongue in my mouth for a long time. And words were slipping between meaningful, impromptu, sky luna. Oh, vast orange library of tears. Lone whistle coyote, guitar with missing string. Yee. So the poet came from the north, a tragic look on his face. You listen with all your ears. I speak with all my mouths. Let's do it alphabetical tonight. Big, bald dictionary written on a city line. Why, one foot's in a basket of eels, and the other is a fulgent cigar. What's for breakfast? Silence. An egg of silence. So it's a tough winter. So we might as well have a summer. Rose Lesniak died, and I just miss her, and I want to read a poem of hers, okay? It's called Aging Love Poem. I love the whiskey on your breath, love your puffed lips, hips, the way your eyes light and turn before you say, my eye moves everywhere. I love you, woman alive. The way your hair curls up, the steam, your skin. Love the way you sing to me, so bold and naked. You are coming into a cup of coffee. Morning, and I love the way you look, as if you never slept. Your perfect face, your oval face, the way your mouth forms, and your stutter with the racing heart under. I am all lovers. Let the bodies of woman ride, take over, and under the covers. Your knees are rashed pinker than the rest of you. I love to watch, no lie. And there is no one else shaking me tonight. There is no sound or any more words. And I will eat your body for thousands of years. Beside myself, if not delighted, having learned how the damn AI works and forgiven myself for all the daily errors I so readily and compulsively commit and recommit, I dedicate myself to the utter continuation, to the ongoingness of possibility, volunteering blood itself
into the life streams of beings, as different as the individual letters that make up the words that try to say what they mean.
Intuitive, pulse, race, and won't settle. These tracings being designed as weather.
Whistle. Whatchamacallit? You can put me down, but you can't put it down.
What's done is done. I take it back.
In the golden horizon, replete with all language, I dreamed I was in past, and you were there too. This is getting closer. The excitement of
I got you covered in the knowledge, springing truth-free as trout over water. Hallelujah!
Meanwhile, the bastards have occupied where we go back to. There is nothing
so blindly we keep digging for the ground, under the ground, and around the hole until looking for something is finding it.
It's all that's left. That is what you are thinking.
This is the first time I've been able to read your thoughts.
I'm surprised at how enclosed you are, like a fence that
never corners, traveling ever, forever, and never touching.
We are not the only exceptions. We are simply exceptional. The driver, the driven.
Here in the sun we can shrug, pretend to laugh it off, all the while knowing we'll never know.
And in the end, we ask how we got here. Looking around over, this is all ours. Breath itself. The lyrics came from the heart. You respond, quoting my thought back to me. You will always. You will always, and I will too.
Thank you. So I just shout out to the filmmaker, Paul Moon, who has also put together the solo show with string quartet that I'll be doing at the Bowery Poetry Club on April 28 and 29. He's an amazing filmmaker, and you know, it's good to find a collaborator who kind of gets on the same train that you're on, even if we haven't spoken in the last 3 months. So it'll be fun. And thank you, Paul, for everything here. And at the other end of the circuit is the beginning of my work with orality that's found in the other book that is for sale over here. Could you hold that other book up over there? That one, yeah. It's called Sing This One Back to Me, which is the words that my teacher, Papa Suso, Gambian griot, king of the griots, taught me. And Papa puts in a special appearance in the book. The whole center section are songs of the Jelia, that's the griot life, that Papa, what can I say? He is the tradition, you know, and this instrument, the kora, has been around. It actually was Papa's great-great-great-great-grandfather that invented the kora. Is that right? Yeah, yeah. Just, yeah. Oh, that's in the this is in the way. Oh, here comes Pedro. Let's hear for Pedro. Mason Hammond and Gary back there. Hey, the tech crew should get a shout out for that work in this place. Yeah, we're using all four inputs tonight, guys. And really, Pedro could not remember the last time this place had 4 inputs. Okay. So Papa and I met in 2000 in Eritrea, and we've been together ever since. We've toured all over the place in this country and other countries, especially South America. And now I am going to do this by myself. Let's see if I can. So if you know what happened was my students I was teaching at Columbia at the time when they said that my reading list was outdated. No longer were we allowed to start with Ubu and Surrealist Dada to get to performance. I said, how come? Because we're hip hop poets. I said, well, yeah, well, what's the lineage there? What are we going to study? And they says, there's no lineage. We just make this shit up. So I said, well, I think there is a lineage through the African-American oral tradition. And how are you going to find that lineage? Well, the problem with the oral tradition is it isn't written down. But that's only a problem if you think it's a problem, because then you got Papa Susu around instead of the book, you know. And so I went to Africa and met Papa, and we've been there several times together, made some movies together. And he's in retirement, but he came out of retirement to be with us tonight. This is the first poem that I ever translated. It's called How the Korah Was Born.
Yeah, alalake. Silango jomake. Obe karibaile. Alabaro jondubaila.
How Korah Was Born, as sung by Papa Suso to Bob Holman. This story begins long ago. So long ago that it was a place, not a time. There was a man, he was so alone. The only person he could talk to was Africa. But luckily there was a tree nearby. Even more luckily, behind that tree, that's where his partner was hiding. Now all the sun and all the water were condensed into a single tiny block, which the man planted in the sandy soil. And he blew on that spot, and he blew, and each time he blew, he thought he heard something. What he was hearing was, of course, his partner was singing. But the man didn't know what singing was, because he could only talk. He couldn't sing yet. So he blew and he listened and he blew, listen, and the plant pushed out dark green and began to twist and grow, a vine reaching for the breath and stretching towards the song, because it's already made out of the rain and the sun. Do you remember that part? Gotta remember. So at the end of the vine, there it was, the calabash. The tree was not a tree anymore. It had become the neck and the handles. And that was when the man's partner, Saba Kadane, came out into the open. But that's a different story. You ask what happened to the breath, and the singing, and the vine. Well, look, you can count them. There are 21 strings. What do you think? And now you say, what about the bridge and the neck? And then, well, what about the cowhide and the rings that tie the strings of the Korah to the neck so that you can tune the Korah? It's a pre-peg technology. What about the thumbtacks that hold the cowhide taut over the calabash? And of course, don't forget the resonator hole. That's where the microphone goes down. And of course, if we were all dancing, which hopefully we are, we'd be coming up to the griot and honoring the griot by putting our money into the resonator hole until there was so much money you'd have to take the microphone out because it was so full with money. And even Vito Ricci was there. Well, okay, you guys go right on talking about all that because I'm playing the kora now. And next time, I'll tell you about the cow. Thank you. You okay? You need some water? Are you okay? You want some water? The other one, yeah. Thank you, Sono. Okay, so we thought we'd do another poem. Actually, Papa had never heard of what a poem was when we started working together, because in our world, he passes as a musician, even though he carries the poetry with him that's been going on for 900 years. The Epic of Sunjata, they think was written, although it wasn't written 900 years ago. Yeah. I told him that, you know, that Homer didn't write the Iliad and the Odyssey, that he spoke it. Who wrote it? No one knows. Could you slow down, Mr. Homer? We're just inventing. Oh, excuse me. Tabara. Tabara. I know what to say about it. Yes, I do. You know, Tabara is the name of a griot, a female griot. And one day she went to see a chief named Nakalung Kama. And Nakalung fell in love with Tabara. He fell in love as soon as he set eyes on her. He fell so hard. But because Tabara was a griot, and she had brought her husband along, didn't I tell you that she was married? So Nakalong, the chief from nobility, if he messes with a woman from a caste family, then he's going to bring his status down. But he tries to hide it away and keep his distance. He tries, but he's had to send this little poem that Papa Suso wrote. Because if you love a person, you have to tell them. You have to tell them that you love them. And then Tabara would sing, "Oh, I just got this letter and it tells me that Nakalong says he loves me. He loves me in a way that I have nothing to say except yes, yes, I say." And she went to him, and Nakalong's people rebelled because taking a griot's wife and being a griot and breaking the caste laws, that doesn't pass on the tradition. No. But you know what? That is not the story. Tabara, that is not the story. The story is told by the husband, who doesn't get a name in this poem. He was so angry that he went crazy, and he composed a poem to insult Nakalong for taking Tabara, his wife, away. And it's the long part of this song, and everybody gets to sing, "He's a bad chief, he's a bad husband, bad father, bad man." It goes on and on and on and on and on like that. And really, this is the part where you write it yourself. And that's the part of the oral tradition, is where you take it on, and that's it. She stays with Nakalong, because what stays with us are the words of rage of the nameless husband that he sings to orbit the world and its weather.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Papa Suso and his kora. Shall I hold this while you go sit down? Okay, we got to work our way out of here. Okay, take your time, Papa. Watch this cord now. Watch that cable. Careful, careful, careful. There you go. Okay, very good. Okay, one more time, please, with enthusiasm. I don't know about you, but I've never met anybody like him. And it's so great to have you grace the stage here, where these poetry readings have been going on forever. And yeah, let's do that. Oh, that? I don't think I want that, but I was wondering, what are we supposed to do now? Is now going to be the short poem, or do I go into the basho right now? Okay, and then we'll do the thing. Okay, well, Sono and I went on the basho walk a couple of years ago, and there she created all this art, and I wrote all these things. Oh, and we're going to watch one of these right now. Okay, let's watch this right now. Is that okay? Yeah.
Take a moment to remember the poet who passed here long ago. Sweat drops on journal. It's a long trek this fall day. No time to read or write. There is emptiness, and then there is emptiness surrounding itself. White, water-filled spheres floating in a rock garden. Ah, whose dream is this?
Yeah. So that's Richard, the two guys I've known for 50 years. Richard Levine, you may not know, but he's worked with Richard Foreman. Really, now he's been living out in L.A. forever and doing this film stuff. So he made the film, and the music, you may know the music guy. It's Philip Johnston, who of the Microscopic Septet, of course, Barb Barg's boyfriend. There you go. Okay. Well, anyways, Sono and I were on the walk, and from it has come all these wonderful collaborations, including the collaboration that Sono and I are going to get married in a month or so. Yeah. Yes, it's true. We thought we'd try something new. Yeah. Marriage, think about that one. Okay, and I'm wearing part of our collaboration right now, as you can see. It starts right here. Day turns black and white. Blame the sun. The river, no, what is it? The colors, I got my back, come on. Have my back for me. The colors run away. Don't forget to write. And now, homage to Hal Sirowitz, chopped off arm. Don't stick your arm out of the car window, Mother said. You might get it chopped off. There will be a memorial for Hal on Saturday at noon at Bowery Poetry Club. Danny Schott. Thank you. Oh, and this is the moment where set up the 4th channel microphone. Hello. Edwin will like this. And I am going to perform this for the camera. So when you go home and watch this again, because you're going to, you know how it is with television, you just watch it over and over, you will see what I'm doing. For you, Gary. Okay. What is the reason? What is the reason? There are no love haikus. Basho says, easing in her slender forearm for his pillow. What is the reason there are no love haikus? Love will not condense. Sono Kueyama. Well, so now I will, the thrilling conclusion of tonight, the scroll by Sono Kueyama of the poems Following Basho's Trail into the Interior.
Where can we read those poems?
Right on the scroll.
No, I mean they were published.
Really? Who published them?
I believe the New Yorker.
What? Don't say those words in here.
Sorry, Bob.
Steve, you just outed me again. Damn it. That was unplanned, as opposed to everything else. Okay, following Basho's, thank you, narrow walk, the April 6th issue with the construction workers on the cover. I just happen to not have any copies here. And they're only. Take a moment to remember the poet who passed here long ago. In case you don't know, it was 1692 that Basho took off on his last hike into the wilderness, which took him 2.5 months to go the 2,500 kilometers with his buddy Sora. And he took with, you had a party before he left, and people brought him presents. What he took with him were all the presents that people brought him. That's the kind of guy he was. And wherever he stopped on this route is now, you can, there's a plaque or there's something, or a book. We had a book. It's a self-guided tour that you would just walk through the wilderness. Sometimes we even had to bang on tin plates to keep the bears away. You've heard the story of the Japanese bears. And mushrooms galore. Sona was in heaven, and I was writing these poems. Weir Basho, I knew his poem written there, and of course he knew the poems of other poets who had been there before him. And then not to mention the 300 years of poems after he'd been there that poets have written. And that's how a lineage is passed on in Japan, through what they call cloud pillows, the places where someone has written a poem, an inspiration point. Much was made of it, so much that it disappeared. This is all that's left. No one can stop it. The world eases out a cloud. Now everyone believes me. I follow ant muse movements across the page into this poem. Can it now be told? Perfect day, wind dividing summer from autumn. Memory made real, embracing last rays of sun, something you once said. Sun opens its eye, day radiates, elongates. This is all I know. Unripe persimmons wafting in the cooling breeze. I sit and I watch. Persimmons falling, my old body follows the good old daily grind. Sweat drops on journal. It's a long trek this fall day. No time to read or write. Up among mountains, fall fog dampens, colors fade, the road never ends. Zen garden selfie. My eyes can't bear to focus. Brown leaf on gray stone. There is emptiness, and then there is emptiness surrounding itself. White, water-filled spheres floating in a rock garden. Oh, whose dream is this? Painting turns into river, turns into clouds that turn into painting. Backward, just in time. Forward into the unknown chrysanthemum leaf. Look quickly before someone comes by and says, stop. Then write it all down. Thank you very much. Frank Rubino. Thank you, Poetry Project. That's my show. And guess what? We have an encore because of this enthusiastic applause. Are we ready for the encore, Pedro? Pedro's ready for the encore. Here it comes. love tech. The poets always push the tech, you see. This is called buffering.
Sun
Oh well.
opens its eye, day radiates, elongates. This is all I know. Up among mountains, fall fog dampens, colors fade, the road never ends. Memory made real, embracing last rays of sun. Something you once said. Much was made of it, so much that it disappeared. This is all that's left.
Wow, incredible, incredible evening. Thank you so much, Bob, for this very rich and beautifully collaborative reading. So many people were involved. Thank you, Papa Suso, for your incredible intervention. Thank you, Frank, also for your amazing reading, truly very moving. I want to thank our guest introducers, Anwar and Marcos de la Fuente, as well. And in addition to Pedro and Gary, I also want to thank Serene at the back, who worked on the lighting tonight, as well as Will and Heather for staff support, and always, of course, our volunteers working at the table over there. Thank you all so much for coming, and please come back to the Poetry Project. Thank you.